Arm yourselves, America. This is Defenders Live.
Hey, yeah, here comes the danger up in this club. When we get started, man, we ain't gonna stop. We gon' turn it out till it gets too hot. Everybody sing, hey, yeah. Tell 'em turn it out till they get no more. Let's get this thing shaking like a disco ball. This is your last warning, I'm gonna see go. I am not afraid.
Evening, folks.
Stop laughing.
This is Defenders Live on Mojo 50 Radio. You can find us at iHeartRadio over at the Mojo 50 Radio section. We are live as we speak in the conversations that we have Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. It is amazing, and you should join us. And that means like Facebooks at the Mojo 50. Maybe on the Twitters, at DOAE Show, or at Steven Airey, or at Dylan Lyles. And always use the hashtag arm yourselves when communicating with us. That way we know what's going on. Along with that, you can go to our website at it's DOAEShow.com if you'd like to get swag, like, I don't know, something like he has on. That's the Mojo 50 swag. That's at mojo50.com. But if you'd like to get the Jackal Nation gear, you can get that at DOAEShow.com/shop. It is amazing.
Because who doesn't need more T-shirts or coffee mugs
or hats or things like that? But nonetheless, it's there.
Nonetheless,
it is there, and it's amazing, and you should try it out. Before we get started, though, I want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Gunbox. Gunbox is
because you got a gun now.
I do have a gun now.
The
got two.
Yeah, you do. You got something to do. Because you have ones running around.
Yeah. See, I personally like to keep my family safe, and I also like to keep my family safe from the tools used to keep my family safe.
As do I.
So I think it'd be a good idea to invest in a gun box. Gunbox is amazing. Their new 2.0 setup. It's extremely quick, accessible, handgun safe. It's amazing technology they have. You can either use the fingerprint code, an RFID chip card, or a fob, and even a ring on your finger, any of which gives you easy, complete access to your gun, but nobody else can get into it but you.
That's true.
That is true. You should check it out. Gunbox.com. Use the promo code Mojo50 at the checkout. Get 10% off if you have an order over $159 or more. They have a travel version, which is like $199. They also have the versions that you can actually drill into your nightstands or your dressers or your floor or wherever else you want to screw it into place to make sure that nobody can steal it off of you. Thank you. Go to gunbox.com. Promo code Mojo at checkout. Get 10% off on anything over $159 or more. Tonight,
yes,
we have with us Miss, is it Mrs.? It's Mrs. Connie Albers.
Mm-hmm.
Connie Albers, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing awesome. I'm glad to be with you guys.
Thank you for joining us.
I'm excited because this is actually kind of up my alley.
It is up your alley.
A little bit. She's a homeschooling advocate.
Yes.
Is that the best way to describe that? I mean, that pretty much.
Indeed, yes.
Enunciates it, or not enunciates.
I guess after 21 years of homeschooling, you could call me that.
Yeah.
You're saying you've done this a time or 12.
A few, a couple decades.
I mean, not only that, but you're also a speaker. You're a consultant. You've written books. You have a blog. You've done quite a bit in the realm of homeschooling and parenting. In fact, you have a new book out, don't you?
I do. I'm pretty excited. Yes, on the rules.
Oh.
Raising teens with confidence and joy.
And I'm guessing that you can find this at conniealbers.com. Is that right?
You can, or you can get it on Amazon or anywhere books are sold. Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart, all the major retailers. Christian Books Distributor.
Even at Books A Million?
Yeah, Books A Million too.
I thought they were dead.
I thought they were.
I think they still have a few million.
Got like one, maybe.
One with a million books.
One door with a million, and that's it.
But we brought you on today because, well, one, you have a new book coming out, and I'd like to know about it personally. Also, you're a big advocate of homeschooling and things like that. We'd love hear your tips, your tricks, what you've learned over the years. Specifically, Dylan and I were in the. I'm from 6 months old, or excuse me, 10 months old to 8 years. Dylan is in the 2-year-old
10,
to
6, and 2, and
10, 6, and 2, and I'm sure that there are listeners there with teenagers and young adults that would love to hear what you have to offer.
Yeah.
Oh, well, great. Let's chat about it.
Because definitely,
I mean, Dylan, you've got a 10-year-old. I mean, it's like right there.
I know. Where I was talking with the wife about that the other day, about how holy smokes, like it was, we're kind of at that middle point where we only got 8 years left to go, and he's going to be out the door, and it's like, oh, we better get our junk together. And that's one of the reasons why I did homeschooling. I mean, I will admit I have a bias towards it. I was homeschooled my entire life. The only time I ever went to public school was for the 3 weeks of driver's ed and a couple years of community college I did while I was dual enrolled. So,
wow.
Yeah, I've never. Oh, and when I picked my oldest son up, it was a brief stretch where he was in public school. That's the closest I've ever been to a public school. I haven't done any of it, and just the things that I read, the way things go on, the way kids are acting, the curriculum that's being taught, I was like, no.
Maybe you want an option.
Yeah, I could go back to that, because originally I'm thinking, no, just kind of an old fogey, or I had to really evaluate and make sure that I wasn't doing it because of a personal bias. I know it, I'm used to it, I like it, whatever. It became one of those things that fit, and that's what we wanted to know. One of the things with you is so how did you get started in this? I mean, again, you're not just like a homeschooling mom. Like you've got books out, you've got curriculums or not curriculum, but you've got your speakers and consulting and all that stuff. Like, how did you get started? What was it? What point that just kind of said, no more? I'm going to do things a little bit differently.
My husband, I've got a career I've got a corporate career type background, and we started having these children, and he said, "Hey, would you consider homeschooling?" And I went, "No." No.
Oh, I've said the same thing. Oh.
That's why he's doing it.
Yeah, right. I wasn't fast enough.
Then
he kind of hit me with the, will you prayerfully consider it? I mean, what are you going to do with that? I'm like, okay. So I said, well, my corporate background, I'm thinking, okay, let's have a contract. If it doesn't work, I want an out clause. And I didn't want to commit to this for life or something. Yeah. And so we started, and it was working, but it was hard. I mean, it was working. Yeah. And then it was the next year, it was like, gosh, well, if you do it again, then your sister can be with you. Won't that be fun? And then it kind of turned into, well, I'll do elementary school, and then they're going in, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. Then middle school came. I'm like, ooh, those are the murky, mysterious, marvelous middle school years. That's when they really start, getting into trouble, because that's when, they're developing and growing and all. And then it kind of came to the high school years. I thought, definitely they're going to high school, because I don't know what to do. I don't know how to raise these little people and teach them chemistry. I haven't done chemistry in forever. Nope. And honestly, when they hit the when they hit the high school years, it's kind of like, now you're human. We've gotten through like the hard stuff. I want to be around you. I kind of like you now. And that's how we did it. And it just kept going like that. And then you get a point where you're like, heck, I'm already into this team, because I might as well just finish the job, which was 21 years. So we did homeschool all 5 of the children from kindergarten through high school. And then they all went on to college, academic scholarship. So that's a whole nother, another radio show.
So what you're saying is, you did, at the time which they became teenagers, you didn't shove them in a barrel and close the lid and then close the bunghole and make sure that they weren't going to be able to breathe again?
No, I didn't do that. But teens are hard. I mean, but the reality is they're just people. They're little people trying to become adult people. Yep. And you get the joy of watching that transition, and going through, walking them through the change. And it's not, some kids, it's easy. They make you feel like you're a great parent, because they're just easy kids. Some kids are like your risk takers, and your rules or your ideas are just mere suggestions that they may or may not want to follow. So, you don't really know what that child's going to do or become. That's the joy of having kids, is you get to help them discover who they're designed to be. And that's truly what I like parents to get a vision of. What can your family look like in 5, 10, 15 years? And then get excited about it and start moving in that direction.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It is. It's very nice. It is amazing to hear that. You're a mother of 5.
And
Oh.
God
see,
bless.
you guys got to step it up. You got some more to get out there.
Well, so I've got 4.
He's already almost there, and
I'm really close, and but I think we're done. I think we're done, but we're really close.
5 is kind of fun, though.
I have no. Look, I'm the oldest of 8 kids,
Oh,
and all
well,
of
5 was good.
and usually I have to follow that up with no, my parents are not Catholic,
Or Mormon.
or Mormon. Yeah, no, when we were all homeschooled, even my youngest brother is he 13 or 14? God, I can't even remember now. But he's homeschooled as we speak. It's just how it's always been.
Wow, your mom. Oh my goodness, she should be somebody I should meet.
If you really want to, I can make that.
Oh, that'd be awesome. But no, look, you're kind of normal.
You don't know me very well. You're very sweet. You give it a little bit of time, and you're gonna be like, "Oh God!" What? No, I appreciate that. No, and I did, like, in the grand scheme of things and of life, I didn't used to be back when I was being homeschooled. Though it wasn't an overly popular thing to be.
No, when I started, it wasn't.
It was very hard. It was very isolated. The groups were at a minimum. Curriculum choices were even less than that. It was, a couple of different companies, and that was it. And you had to make it work. And
that's exactly right. I will never forget. We were a couple of years into it, and it was legal. It was legal, but it was still very fringe. It wasn't common. You didn't know very many people, and most people had their eyebrow turned up, like, you think you're smart enough to do that? You're going to ruin your child. But I'll never forget being in the library, and I sent my son. This is back when you could actually send your child to the children's section, and they were safe.
Yeah.
And I turned around, and there was 2 police officers escorting him to me, and he had this mortified look. Because, I raised them, that's law enforcement, you be respectful, and here they're escorting him like he's a criminal.
Yeah.
And the officers came up and they're like, "Ma'am, is this your son?" I'm like, "He is. What's going on?" And he says, "He is truant. Why isn't this young man in school?" And I said, "He is in school. We homeschool." And, their jaws just kind of fall to the ground.
Uh-huh.
But he was definitely, that was a memorable moment for those officers, because it was probably the wrong mom to say that to. Because I fought really hard for parents to have the same privileges and rights that private and public school kids had. It's like they're still children, and they still need exposure to music or art and things like that, sports.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You mentioned sports, actually. That was my worst thing, because being homeschooled and back then, again, not very popular.
Yeah.
The closest of any sports leagues I got to do, we had to pay the city rec leagues in order to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
And it's like now that they've changed things. A lot of the rules and the laws around, at least in our area, have changed a lot. Where
heck yeah.
You can, if you're homeschooled, your kids can associate with based off of, obviously they have to meet the standards and stuff school set, but like they can play, high school football if they want to. They can go to the homecoming dance. They can do all of that stuff just as if they're part of the school. They just don't have to go to the school.
Right.
And now part of me is I have gotten over it a long time ago.
You're
but there
jealous.
but there's a lot at the time I was kind of bummed about. Like you didn't have a choice, and everybody's like homecoming and dressing up, or they're watching football games, and my sports career ended when I was 13 because the local league at the point didn't go much higher. After that, it went to high school, and obviously I wasn't going to a public high school, so I missed out. And
Yeah, I mean that is a true. I mean, your mom was a pioneer. It sounds like, and that's kind of what happens when you're plowing through to make a path. And now we're like over 2 million kids that are homeschooled.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. It's the fastest growing educational method that's out there right now. It's just growing by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, that is true. That's amazing stuff. Hey, Dylan.
Yeah.
You know one of the fastest growing mobile companies out there today?
I believe it is. I've heard of this one. It's right there on the tip of my tongue.
It's called Patriot Mobile.
It is Patriot Mobile. That's right. Because you know why they're the fastest growing mobile company?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know.
Why would that be?
Well, they're the only conservative cell phone company out there.
That's a good one.
It is a good one.
They're also not restricting free speech?
No, they're not. They're actually fighting for your free speech as well as your Second Amendment rights. A veteran-led company. They're there with every time that you make a phone call. It helps protect your constitutional rights. Every bill that you pay can fight for your freedom. They have it set up to where you can get reliable nationwide coverage. The same stuff that you already know that you have. But you can also know that your hard-earned money is supporting conservative organizations like the Heritage Foundation, like the NRA, Alliance Defending Freedom, and so much more. They have plans starting as low as $25 a month. So why wait? Call them at 1-800-A-PATRIOT. That's 1-800-A-PATRIOT. Use the promo code MOJO50. 1-800-A-PATRIOT. Use the promo code MOJO50. Or go to the website, patriotmobile.com/MOJO50 to get your activations fees waived on the spot. We won't be silent.
Nope, we can't.
So join us and the thousands of Americans that switch to Patriot Mobile today and let your freedom ring. So
That's true.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Connie, you have so many things on your blog and everything else that's going on, but with your speaking engagements and things, in your book, tell us what you go through in your book, Parenting Beyond the Rules.
You know, thanks for asking that question. As parents, you know, especially with your kids being younger, we're really good at putting limits and rules and boundaries because it keeps your child safe. It keeps harmony. It just keeps from chaos happening everywhere. But as your child starts to grow, they start to, some start to push back, and it can be at a different age. There's not a certain temperament. It's just they're growing up and they're learning to become responsible, independent citizens, right? So what I cover is I don't need to write another book. There doesn't need to be another book about rules and limits or boundaries. There's plenty of them out there. I'm writing a book to the mom who's living it, and she's getting the eye rolls from her teenager, or, you know, her child is pulling away from her. It's not talking quite as much, or excuse me, she gets irritated at them and she'll snap, you know, because she just, you know, gets tired. And so what I do in my book is try to help parents. Sorry.
Dylan just raised his hand. That's why I'm laughing. Dylan raised his hand quietly, like in the corner.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So basically, it's just the realization that God has given you this child.
Yep.
And he's the architect. So he knows the plans he has for that child. And he's given that child to you so that you can help that child discover who they are, what they were meant to do, and who are they meant to be. I'm sorry, I have a tickle. And so that's what I talk about in the book, is how do you listen to them? You know, they give us clues as to what's going on. You know, they get quiet. They'll kind of round their shoulders. They'll look away. They won't do what you ask them to do. Right when you ask them to do it. And so in the book, I try to bring up, I'm so sorry, guys.
It's okay.
I understand.
Look, we talk for a living. I completely understand.
But no, I want parents to have the realization that your child is a gift and a blessing. And that we can celebrate these years. They're not something we should dread. They're not something that we should just survive. They're there's something that we need to come alongside them and walk them through this season and be that person who is shining a light and is their greatest cheerleader.
Yeah.
That's what they need from us. And if it's not coming from the mom and the dad, it's going to come from somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So I say to parents, if not you, then who? It will be somebody. Your kids want to talk to you. And I mean, based on, look what they're doing on their cell phones. They're chatting constantly. Kids want to be heard. They want to be seen. They want to be known. We are designed for a relationship, first with God, and then with each other. And our children are no different. When they're little, it's mom and daddy. Mommy, mommy, daddy, daddy, look, look, look. Then when they get older, they start to expand that base, and they start to have friends that are shaping and influencing them. And the world says, you're not relevant. It's our job. We'll take it over from here. The kids need to be, separated from mom and dad so that they can just become themselves. Like, parents are not equipped to help their kid become who they're supposed to be. And so I just want parents to have the tools and the resources to understand what kids are living through today. I mean, their world is very, very different. Technology is neutral. It's not, there's nothing wrong with technology. We're using it right now.
Yes, we are.
The internet is not safe.
No.
But the reality is it's not going anywhere. So we've got to prepare our kids. And I often say to teach your kid to have a positive social footprint. Help them find a cause that is shining a light on something, and then let them shine the light on it. Like the Pug Society, or my daughters were very involved. They wanted to do more with human trafficking. So they got very involved, and they would use their platform, their level of influence, to shine a spotlight on something that was wrong in our society.
That's awesome. That is amazing.
A kid could have anything, right?
Yeah.
But, so I talk to parents about how to listen. I talk to them about monitoring their mouth, because what comes out of our mouth, it needs to land in a tender part of their heart. And if we aren't careful, they start putting up a wall, and then it becomes harder for us to reach them. So I say to parents, you've got to build a relationship. You've got to keep their heart. You've got it when they're little. Don't lose it. Don't give it away when they're teenagers. Hold on to that. So once you have the relationship and you've got their heart, then you are the primary influence in their life. And you maximize that influence and relationship and pointing them to the Lord, pointing them to, their identity is found within the Lord and also within the family. I mean, they've got to know, I belong here. These are my people. They have to know that it's safe. Your house is safe. What you teach, what you train, what you talk about, their hurts, their insecurity, their fears, and which leads to the next thing is I teach parents how to starve the fear. Don't buy into the fear that you're going to ruin your child. You're not going to ruin your child.
Look at Dylan.
That's right. Look, he's on the radio.
I worry about what the damage I'm doing to them, but that's
I'm talking about look at you now.
I know, just them there. God bless them. It's feeling sorry for them. I've seen them in church. They walk past them and they put their arm around them and go, God bless you. And it's, if you need anything, you know who to call. Right here, Pastor. No.
Thanks, Pastor. Thanks.
Thank you.
So I like giving parents. I've worked with teens for like 20 years, and I listened to what they would say about trying to tell their parents about an insecurity they were having or some problems they were trying to wrestle through. And the parents, they are interested, but let's face it, we're all really busy. And sometimes we can pack our lives so full, there's no margin. And when we don't have margin, we don't have time to really get to know our kids and really get to know what excites them, what concerns them. We have to become a student of our children. As children grow and as teens start to change, we have to adjust. That doesn't mean we become permissive. It doesn't mean we're still not the parent, that we don't have rules or anything. It just means that we're willing to let them be involved in the decisions.
Yep, that is amazing, and that's exactly what we need to hear as we go forward. That music right there means that it's time for a commercial break. We will be right back after this. That don't sound too good. You okay?
Darling, you all right?
I just can't seem to get over this, but no, I'm good. I'm so sorry.
Is it
In
the
the middle of me talking, I was like, don't cough, don't cough, don't cough.
No.
We're very much, as much as we pick and we joke, we do kind of beat ourselves up, but in the end, like, this is live radio. Like, and we laugh, but this is what people want here. They don't want the guests or the hosts to be imperfect, or just
They want him choking.
We also have a cough button on our mics, just in case.
Well, I was trying to figure out how I could get cough, but not mine.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm good
So
now.
here's what you do. So
Okay.
if you look at your Skype,
Yeah.
look at your Skype. There's a couple different buttons down at the bottom. One of them is a microphone. Looks like a microphone. If you press that, it'll mute you, and you can cough.
I'm going to do that. If I disappear, you'll know. Just fill in for me.
We got you.
we've done this at timer 12.
Yep,
so.
yep. A timer 45. It's all good. So there's the button there. Okay, we have what? 10, 20 seconds? 20 seconds ish.
Okay.
20 seconds ish. So we'll just kind of go silent for a bit. Get things rolling. Shh, 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 shh. All right, a few more than 20 seconds.
That's true. I was going to say, I think you only went the minute.
No, now it's like 10 seconds. I was off count. I was off of my count. And we're back.
I don't get paid enough for this.
It's true. It's so true.
That's true. It is true.
This is Defenders Live on Mojo 50. We have with us tonight Connie Albers. She has a brand new book called Parenting Beyond the Rules. She has 5 children that she has raised throughout these past, 20-something years? From young, small child all the way through until they went out to college. Did you go through college courses with them, or did they?
Yeah, people often ask me, did you take him to college? No. Although I did have one funny experience, which I write about in the book, and that's the lawnmower mom. It didn't take me long to realize that didn't work so well.
I have to ask, what?
Well, okay, so I homeschool, and I'm the teacher, the guidance counselor, like everything.
Right.
So my son had won all these academic scholarships and awards, and we were going in, and they needed some paperwork. So I'm thinking I'm kind of like guidance counselor here. So I'm going in, and the guidance counselor, their admissions officer looked at me like, who is this person? I'm like, I'm his mom. I taught him. And she looked over at my son like, you have got to be kidding me. Is she going to come with you to school? And I quickly realized I wasn't really welcome there. And I told my son, I said, it's fine. It's okay. Here's what you need. And I didn't go back to see her again.
Nice.
That was my choice. It was my choice. But yeah, I kind of learned that they're not real welcoming.
So you decided to avoid that issue.
I did, yes.
Nice.
It wasn't something for me to really get into.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I still had 4 other kids to get into college. So, I had a lot of other work to tend to.
There you go. Now, I'm very much of the, my wife works for a trade school teaching dental assisting. And I'm my family, I'm raising my kids in a very unorthodox way because all of my kids will actually openly tell them that, I don't have to go to college. And everyone else is like, no, you've got to go to college. You ready to go to college? You know what college you go to? Blah, 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 blah. We're in North Carolina. North Carolina, just where we're at. You've got UNC at Chapel Hill. You've got you've got ECU out in Greenville. You have let's see, what's the one in Winston-Salem? Wake Forest University.
Yep.
There's those 5 and gobs of many others. Needless to say, we're a very college university state.
Yes.
Yeah.
So to not go to college in North Carolina, something must be wrong with you.
Or you're like me and you got in, started, and realized, no.
This is
I'm
crap.
not going to spend the next 5 years going into debt for a degree that I don't know what I want yet.
Yeah.
When I can make X amount, I can make that same amount I'm going to go into debt for. I can make it right now.
Yeah.
I could just make money and I'll be fine.
I remember when I first learned that lesson too. I was sitting in I was trying to go for a radiology tech, rad tech. And I was doing my not the extracurriculars, the prerequisites. And one of the prerequisites ended up being Southern culture. Now, what has to do with radiology, I haven't the foggiest idea. But the entire it took the entire semester. And I right hand as God is my witness. It took the entire semester to watch To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh my.
Because every time, as you start at day of class, here's syllabus, guys. By the way, our first thing, we're going to start watching To Kill a Mockingbird. And she would play it up to the point and stop.
Okay.
And then and then the next class, she would turn around and start it back from the beginning and then play up to a point and stop. And every time we went in, it started back at the beginning. And we went a little bit further. And then, I was done.
What's the point? Just repetitiveness?
I have no earthly idea.
just repeating a Southern stereotype in your head so that you forever tie the South with To Kill a Mockingbird, which is really odd.
I get.
To tie in a little thing about, we've been talking about moms, and we've been talking about homeschooling moms specifically, and Mother's Day is coming up soon.
It is coming up.
Mother's Day is coming up soon. If you have a homeschool mom, I recommend getting Parenting Beyond the Rules. But if you don't have a homeschooling mom, or maybe you're the only child left and you're above the age and you want to get your mom a special gift, maybe you should go to Nostalgia. That's mojowildrice.com and get their Mother's Day gift pack.
Should I be playing?
No, don't play the music. Don't play the music this time. I'm just going to go through it straight this time. We're not going to do the No, we're not going to do it. No.
It's because we have company, isn't it?
It's because we have company. I'm just going to do it straight. Look, the Nostalgia Wild Rice Mother's Day promotional gift pack. It has wonderful things like their maple syrup, their healthy wild rice pancake mix, their hazelnut honeys, which are whipped, by the way. Great in teas, cereals, coffees. Anything you like. It's amazing. Blueberry jams are in this, which is great on some ice cream, bread. So good. And they also come with a pure soy candle, hand-poured, lead and dye-free, with a gentle fragrance to help your mom soothe and relax on her Mother's Day.
If she needs it.
Yes, that sounds great. Yep. Send me one.
That's at ConnieAlbers.com, at ConnieAlbers.com. No, MojoWildRice.com.
In case my kids were listening, I was giving them a heads up.
Hey, Albers kids, listen carefully. Go to MojoWildRice.com, MojoWildRice.com. Find the Mother's Day promo pack. It is there, and if you use the promo code MOM10, that's MOM10, you can get 10% off on that or anything that you buy over on MojoWildRice.com. Go check them out today, MojoWildRice.com.
Oh, I think you need to add a note with that they will cook the rice and everything else for mom. Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, well, so here's the thing. Like, it's not it's got syrup, a pancake mix made from wild rice.
So make breakfast for mom.
Make breakfast for mom.
That sounds great on paper.
I'm teaching my kids to cook, dude.
When they're walking it to your room.
My daughters know how to cook. My oldest at least, she can do some pancakes.
Yeah.
My kids are slowly learning to cook very little bit at a time, but it's not every kid knows how to cook, no matter what the age, and this is not exactly the product that you want them ruining.
That's true.
That's true. So you guys can help them. Get dads to help.
That's right. Dad helps. Go take care of it. Make sure and get the maple honeys. Make sure and get the entire pack. It's amazing. Try it out.
I've got thing.
Go ahead.
So
You got it.
So I'm obviously the oddball of all this. Okay.
Really?
I know, right? I was home. To those of you that aren't aware, I was homeschooled my entire life. I don't, it's just, I'm the weird one.
You don't say.
I went straight from being homeschooled into the Navy, and then came out for a little bit of college, and then here I are.
That's true.
It is true. So the thing that I'm already kind of in the weird spot to begin with, because as I've mentioned earlier, my mom was kind of at the beginning of stuff. We were already outcasts and weird, and keeping true to that form, I maintain being the outcast of being what is, I swear, I'm the only dad in a majority of these homeschooling groups. Now I need some help. Do you realize how awkward it is to be the only, because you can tell, you can hear it when you open the door to going to these groups. The women are talking and having a good old time, and they have this, everything is common, and little Timmy did this, and then I walk in,
Dead
they just
silence.
stare at each other and then at me, and and they know who I am. They know what I'm there for. They understand. But it's like, we can't say nothing around the mail.
So let me clean this up. Let me clean this up for you, Dylan.
I got this. So my question is, do you have advice for the male? Because there are some out there. I know there are. What do you have for the male, the fathers that are staying home and homeschooling?
I mean, just do what you did. It's more acceptable and now than it was. I mean, obviously it was a lot more just male, but honestly, so many, with thanks to the internet, there's so many people working from home, so many entrepreneurs now. I'm seeing more and more of the homeschooling split. Mom's doing some subjects, dad's doing other subjects. There are a lot of 2-income families now, and they're splitting it up, which is really encouraging, because it's not because it was just mom before, but because, dad has more of an opportunity. I think when you were talking about, you show up and you're like, what do the dads do? I mean, just do dad. I mean, be dad, be, you're one half of that child's life, right? So just go and show up and help where you can and be involved in your child's life, because that's ultimately what matters. It's your child's life and your involvement, not what others think about you showing up and how they view you. I mean, that's kind of like the thing we tell our kids not to do. Don't be swayed by what others are thinking or feeling. Just do you and run your race in your lane and have fun doing it.
Oh, I do. It's just, it's the awkward looks. I don't know who, I feel like they're the ones who are uncomfortable, and they're
probably sitting there thinking, well, my husband would never come. I don't know.
That could be very well. I'll admit, there's a lot of it that I find very amusing. Like, I sit there and laugh at it. And when something pops up, like one of the biggest ones is my son is in a book club where they're doing, a lot of, literatures, this fancy stuff that I never read. And he'll sit there and he'll have all this stuff down and he'll answer these questions, and they'll look at me and I'm like, yep, I'm the one. He'll say, my dad said blank. And then every time they do, they look at me and I'm like, yep, I did.
That's him.
It's great because the look on their face is like, wow, you're really doing this. I'm like, no, because I have nothing better to do with my day.
That's true. You're just like hanging around doing nothing, right?
Exactly. I'm bum, and this was my way to maintain my bum status without having to be obvious.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a homeschooler alive that would believe that.
Thank God for that, because it's very challenging. And you go back to what you were mentioning with kids being different. I know that, I'm learning that the personalities, like, because before I stayed home to actually be with them, I mean, I knew they were different, but you learn about your children in ways that you never knew before. Like I learned.
I kind of want to jump in there just to say, it gives you a different appreciation for what the work your wife is doing when you're away. I mean, my husband came home from the corporate life 20-some years, like almost 24, 25 years ago. And that's back when it was popular. It wasn't real popular back then, but we just said, hey, we had a vision for our family. which is a lot of what I talk about in the book. What do you want for your family? What kind of relationships do you want when the kids don't have to call?
Yep.
But it does. So so go back to what you were saying. I think that's fascinating when you say, you came home and you're learning a lot more about that little human that you fell in love with the day you brought them home, or, the day that you were in the delivery room, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, as a father, and especially from a father's side of things, and I know moms feel this too, but moms always feel this from the beginning, that connection with their children. But to be the dad to stay home, that's you love your kids and you're there, but there is always this kind of, well, dad's at work, and there's this, unfortunately, there's this slight disconnect. You don't get quite as close with them as mom always does. And again, I've learned my kids to in ways that I never knew you could.
Mm-hmm.
As a dad.
It's great. Like it's irritating sometimes because you're like, really? And you start going, well, I may have a new greeter for Walmart, and it's okay, but you love it anyway. But
that's pretty good.
I do. At the moment, one of my kids is going to be either a pastor or a dentist, and the other one is going to be a greeter at Walmart. And I know that I'm okay with it, and I'm pretty sure he's okay with it too. Now, he is 6, so there is room to grow, but it's fascinating that how and it's not just how different they are from each other is amazing. It's not just an age difference.
Oh yeah, there's a major personality difference between the kids.
Oh yeah, and again, it's not something you realize until you get down and dirty. And that was the reasons why. Like I said, we started homeschooling because the way that the curriculum was going on, the things they're trying to indoctrinate these kids with, we were just having issues with other kids. The argument that I gave my wife was, these kids are going to school for upwards of 8 to 10 hours a day. If you're in a two income family,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be long, upwards of 12 hours. They're gone from you. And then you have them, not counting sleep time, all of 4 hours in a day? Maybe.
And 3 of those 4 hours is them doing homework.
I was just going to say, you forgot to add in the homework factor.
Oh, yeah. I haven't got there yet. But, yeah, that's it. So you get maybe an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours if you're lucky, to try and circumvent all of the crap that they've been fed the entire time they were away, from all the other kids, from the teachers, from just everything out there. And I told her, I'm like, that ratio isn't going to work. We're not going to get anywhere. And even just taking them to church and everything else, it's not going to be enough. Like, we need more time with them to be able to show them this is how you are to be as, an adult, and this is how you're supposed to act. And I'm like, we need to do this. And she was not thrilled at first. And,
well, I mean, think about it. I mean, you're taking on the whole responsibility of teaching another human, right? And society tells you you're not equipped for that. You don't have your teaching degree. And I mean, I believed it. I thought, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm smarter than a 5th grader. And those were real fears that we have. So
that was my advice.
Yeah. And then you kind of dive into it and think, I think I can do as good as, and that kind of became my motto. My motto is like, I know I could do just as good as, but I bet if I try hard, I could do better.
Exactly. And that's what my wife did. My wife was gung-ho. She did it. She got into it, and it just became our life. And she did it for almost 2 years. Yeah. And then it just worked out that, her line of work, I mean, she was working, doing, like you were mentioning, she was working from home and do a lot of stuff on the side. And it ended up being that the company she worked for was like, hey, we really want you to go full time. And it was going to make way more money than I was doing, working 16 hours a day. Mm-hmm. So we kind of went, well,
that's a no-brainer.
Exactly. We pulled the trigger, and now I'm Mr. Mom, stay at home. I look really cute in a French maid outfit.
Oh, no.
I stay home, and I handle all that, and she goes out, and it's funny. again, being the guy, it's funny how many people will come to me and go, so how's that working out for you? You know, how do you feel about her doing all this and her working and making money? And I'm like, there's certain requirements and certain things that have to be done for a family to work. Bills have to be paid, kids have to be taken care of, etc.
What's up with that? You know, they're always needing food, like three times a day, and snacks.
The older they get, the more they eat. Holy,
I know.
10-year-old, I'm about to have to buy a dump truck.
So that's my only concern, because my youngest is a boy.
Oh yeah,
My youngest is a boy. See, I had 3 girls and a boy, and my youngest, he's not even 1 yet, and he's already he's like I was when I was a kid. Apparently, like I chowed down on everything from the very beginning and just kept eating and eating and eating and eating and eating. I never gained any weight, but I always ate.
yeah, that's me.
That's the point. Dylan here, he kind of gained weight. Now, one of the things that I will say for those,
thank you very much.
for those people who do have a problem gaining weight, maybe you should try some Riduzone, Dylan.
I would try Riduzone, Steven,
Well, why haven't you, Dylan?
because I'm scared.
I know you are.
This works, Steven.
Well, here's the thing. It does work, and it is safe. See, Riduzone is actually it's America's first weight loss supplement of OEA. Now that, I can't pronounce it, but it's got a really scientific-y name. It's a natural metabolite made from olive oil. It's actually something that your body produces, but as you age, you produce less and less and less. Just like most of the things that your body produces as you age, you produce less and less and less. OEA, what it does is it helps curb your appetite, and while it curbs your appetite, it also helps keep your metabolism going. So your metabolism raises up, your hunger goes down, you burn fat without intaking too many more calories. Now, it's a non-stimulant. It's naturally present in your body already, so it's not something that your body has to fight against. It's vegetarian, gluten-free, non-GMO, all of that. It's a patented process, FDA accepted supplement. And you can start right now, Dylan, on your weight loss journey. If you go to riduzone.com, go to riduzone.com, and you'll find there a special offer for 30% off coupons automatically applied to your bottle. It is amazing. Go to riduzone.com. Go check them out. It's a 3-month supply. You get 30% off of that. So I think it's like $99 for the full 3-month supply. It's normally, like $39 a pop. So
Something like that.
yeah, so you're saving like $20.
That's true.
That's true. Go to riduzone.com. That's riduzone.com.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. So you have for the fledgling homeschooler, you have 5 secrets to homeschool success. Kind of want to go through I want to go through these a little bit. I this is part of your blog, so
Okay.
the first one you have here is have and maintain an intense desire to do your best.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes. I mean, that's what we need to do in everything. And when you teach your children, that shouldn't be any different than if you were to show up at a job. You would show up at a job, you wouldn't slack off. You would work hard. You would do your best. You would learn to be the best at whatever that job was, even if it's a Walmart greeter. You want them to be the best greeter they could be. So yeah, if you want to be successful, then be serious and view it as a job, because it is. It just happens to be you don't get paid for it, where some people who teach children do.
Okay. How about having a burning sense of urgency?
Yes, and I think we talked about that earlier. Dylan, I think you were talking about you have like so many years left. When you start to really unpack the time you have in raising children, that's not very long. And so when I get parents to kind of zero in on, it seems like a long road when you have a 10-month-old. I mean, you're thinking 18 years can't come fast enough on some days when they're sick or, they're fussy. But the truth is, when you put it in perspective and realize I only have X amount of years to shape and form this little person, to help them establish their values, their character, their beliefs, all of that. that isn't very much time. So yeah, it is. You are urgent because you and I mean, you guys know, time goes by so fast. We start on Monday and it's already Friday.
Right.
I wish it was Friday, but you're right about it, especially the time thing. I've been out, and I will probably remind everybody later on, but June of this year, June 16th, as a matter of fact, will be 20 years when I went into the military.
Wow.
20 years in June.
You're
And then-
old.
Shut up. When you like, what I can think of it from, it's 20. Like to me, that feels almost like yesterday.
Yeah.
And then I look in forward. I have 8 years left with just my oldest. It'll man.
Right?
It digs into you, doesn't it?
It'll make you butt pucker. You just kind of, ooh, I've got to go, and you got to get stuff nailed down. And man, I have been, and it does that motivate, at least for me, because I am not the most patient person around. Newsflash, in case those of you were shocked by that. Dylan is not a patient person. And I'm not. It is taking. There's a lot about my kids. I learned along a couple months back, and I never realized it before, that they always say that the marriage is has a way of sanctifying you into who God wants you to be. And the same thing applies with parenthood. The problem with it is we never actually engage enough in parenthood to allow that sanctification to happen. And being home with these kids and my sons, I've learned a lot about who I am, the what's wrong with me, the things that God needs to fix with me, because I have to deal with it. I can't, with a 6-year-old, you really can't be that impatient.
True.
You can be impatient with any of your kids, but especially when it comes to 6-year-old. My 6-year-old will be doing some of the work, and he'll pick the book up and just start whizzing through it. And it could be anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour, knocking them dead, hitting everything like it's supposed to. And then all of a sudden just stops. And he can't for the life of him remember what a vowel is. Nothing. Shuts down completely. And it's, I don't know. And I start rolling in the back of my head, and my eye twitches and that kind of thing. And you learn, and I've lost my junk, much to my shame. I have lost it. I have completely snapped, and I had to come back later and apologize for yelling and being angry and whatnot. And you learn to really adjust who you are. And
parenting causes us to pivot, to be honest. I mean, and it's wise to master the art of the pivot. I mean, our kids are constantly growing and changing, and I kind of liken it to a dance. You know, it's you're figuring out how to move. One moves and you follow, and the other moves and you follow, and you turn, and you don't want to step on toes. And it's actually a beautiful thing. But it does kind of reveal what we need to change about ourselves. And that's kind of the perspective of the book. I write about, my own mom fails and some of the things that I learned through them, and I share them because so often, people will give you these theoretical or, hypothetical, or I had it all together. And frankly, there isn't a parent that did it all perfect. It didn't happen. And there's only one perfect person that's ever lived. So that's the beauty of it. It's like, you want to be the best you can. You want to have this sense of urgency, and then go to the next one. What was the next point?
The next point for you is define what you want to accomplish. By the way, nice transition. It's amazing.
Oh, well, thanks, guys. All right. So you want to, what was the question again?
Define what you want to accomplish. That's your next bullet.
I always tell parents, and I'm very serious about this, what do you want when your child is in their 20s? I mean, do you want them to call you and say, hey, Mom and Dad, you want to go watch a movie, or you want to go get a bite to eat, or can I just come over and visit? Do you want that child to call you and say, hey, what time is Thanksgiving dinner? Or do you want it where you're calling them saying, you are coming for Thanksgiving, right? No parent wants that. We want a relationship with our adult children. It starts now.
It does indeed. It does indeed. Connie Albers, how can people find you? This hour flew by.
I know. All right. So you can find me at conniealbers.com. You can find me on Facebook, obviously, conniealbers.author. Same with Instagram, Connie Albers, and on my website. So I'm pretty much all over the place, and I'd love to connect and encourage parents.
Wonderful. If I order a book, could I get it signed?
Sure.
Yes.
Make that 2. I'm gonna. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is Connie Albers with us.
Good evening, Mojo 50. I'm Leprechaun and here with your bell count grade for the day.
Okay.
There were
Here's the bell count.
45
Here we go.
missed innuendo bells today. There were 25 actual bells today. And there were 2 horns. Giving it a slow bell count day and missed bell count day, we'll give it a grade of C today.
Good night, folks.